Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Artman and I'm a nutritionist with Mad Barn and also the host of our podcast, The People Behind the Horses. This is a series where we talk with different individuals within the horse industry, discussing different areas for positive growth and change over the coming years. I'm really excited to be joined with Meghan Mackenzie Bell from Henry Equestrian. She has over 11 years of experience in horse insurance, with several years before that in the race industry, and a lifelong horse lover. So really excited to have you here with us today.
Thanks so much. I'm really glad to be here and joining you here at the Royal too.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive right in. I know our viewers have lots of questions about insurance, but I start this podcast off the same every time. How did you get started in the horse industry and what led you to insurance?
So I was a horse crazy little girl. I've been riding horses since I was 6. Had a farm that just became my second home, which I think a lot of horse girls are like that. Sorry, the boys I'm sure too.
Yeah, exactly.
And finished my undergrad at Guelph and had no idea what I was going to do after undergrad before waiting to get into grad school. So I applied for farms in Ireland, and I got into a racehorse farm in Ireland, a breeding farm. And I was very lucky. I worked there for a year, came back, did my master's at Guelph. Still wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And so I went back to Ireland. I then moved to Kentucky for a few years, working again on a racehorse farm. Then moved to Australia, New Zealand, did a bit of jumping around, and then moved back to Canada, and then realized the racehorse industry in Canada, while awesome and full of really great people, just isn't the size it is in, say, Ireland or Australia.
Yeah.
And so I was very lucky to get hooked up with Henry Equestrian, which was at the time just a town over in Aurora, Ontario. And I've been in insurance ever since, and it's exciting and interesting. No one ever thinks insurance might be exciting or interesting, but I get to combine my love of horses with my detail-oriented kind of mindset that came, I think, from working at labs when I was in university. So it's really exciting. And I get to then speak with a lot of clients who are really excited about their horses and their farms and their operations, and get to help them. So it's kind of a best of both worlds.
Wow, that's really exciting. I love hearing everybody's background. We all start as those horse crazy girls, or like you said, or boys, horse crazy people. And we kind of find a way to use our strengths to then bring it into the industry and to help the industry grow and connect with other individuals. So that's really exciting. Now, let's go ahead and dive into the world of insurance, because I know for myself, I don't know very much about it. So I'm excited to talk to you. So can you kind of just walk us through, assuming I know nothing, what are kind of the top coverage plans that we will usually see in an insurance for horses?
Yeah, so for horse insurance, the policies always start with the basics of mortality.
Okay.
So we're going to insure your horse for its fair market value. So either what you just bought your horse for, or if you were to go sell your horse today, say you bought it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, people put so much work into their horses that usually those values increase.
Yeah.
So maybe you bought your horse for $5,000, maybe it was an off-the-track thoroughbred.
Yeah.
And now you're competing in prelim eventing, and it's probably worth maybe $30,000.
Yeah.
So we look at what the fair market value is, and we insure your horse for that. So the full mortality coverage that it's available with Henry Equestrian is an all risk of loss, other than those that are specifically excluded. So say your horse gets into an accident and unfortunately has to be put down for humane reasons, or colics, goes for surgery, and the heartbreaking things that happen to horse people, but you lose your horse. That's where that coverage would respond. So that's the basics of the policy. We can then add personal liability. So sometimes people don't have OE or a provincial membership.
Okay.
And so they would need to get liability for the ownership of horses. We can add that through our policy, which is really important. I mean, horses are unpredictable animals.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that our clients are protected should, their horse cause an injury.
Yep.
And then you can add additional coverages. So we offer 2 types of coverages that are an add-on of surgical only, which is what some people are really concerned at. You know, if we have to go for colic surgery, I want to know that I have coverage.
Yes.
And we can then also add on medical plus surgical instead of just the surgical. which is for both medical ailments. So that could be a medical colic, but that could also be a tendon or mysterious lameness that you have to investigate, do an MRI, and then you discover maybe it's, a fracture or something.
Yes.
So that's where that coverage could respond. And there are, a few different add-ons like stallion infertility or disability coverage. And those are all on a case-by-case basis. And all of this can be done with a conversation.
Yes.
I think sometimes we're so quick to be like, oh, is it available online? Can I press a button and it's immediate? And I really feel like these are all conversations.
Yeah.
How do we find the best coverage for our clients? Because everyone has different risk appetites too. So, I'm a very risk adverse person. That's probably why I'm in insurance.
I was like, that's the same thing.
So I don't want the worry of, am I going to have enough coverage? So I would buy more coverage for a horse that I own. Whereas some people are like, look, I have $10,000 in a savings account. That's my rainy day fund. If I needed to, I could use that for part of a surgery. And maybe I just want a bit more for, if it was a really dramatic loss and I needed a bit extra for that surgery. So everyone's different. And that's why conversations are really great, which, horse people love to talk about their horses.
Exactly.
So not hard to get them rolling on that. But I also think sometimes that insurance gets so overwhelming and kind of scary.
Yes.
Especially like in your example of, new horse owner, never done insurance. It's intimidating.
Yes.
All these options, you don't know what's the right choice. Maybe you've just purchased your horse. So all of this, your decision fatigue is like at its max. So that's where, that conversation where we can just guide you through it. We hold your hand. We're good at holding hands.
Oh, I love that. And I know, people all have different types of horses, whether you're just, a pasture pet or you're a recreational rider and stuff like that, all the way through, obviously, our Grand Prix riders and to be able to know that you have varying levels of coverage because, my weekend warrior horse that I have at home definitely doesn't, need the same amount of coverage as maybe a horse that you really have a lot riding on it and competition and money invested into it. So it's nice to hear kind of the breakdown of that and the owner is able to kind of have their own input into that as well. So let's say some of our viewers are reviewing their coverage. If they already have some, what is some things that they should be looking for, whether it be terminology or just fine print that is in there to help them?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the first one is review the value of your horse.
Okay.
Has it changed? Again, if you put a ton of time and money and training into your horse, does that full mortality value that you've put on the horse still accurately reflect what you've got? Or vice versa, if you've taken a horse that was doing a lot of competing and now it's just a pasture or like just a pleasure horse, you've decided to take a step back from competing. Maybe the value has gone down. Maybe it's a bit older and you want to maybe save some money because you don't want to spend the same amount of money on insuring that horse for the high value that it was worth previously. So review the values of your horse. Review the limits you have on your medical and surgical coverage. Maybe you need more now. Maybe your life circumstances have changed and you need to up what you're able to put through insurance rather than take on for yourself. I would also review your exclusions. So with Henry Equestrian, we're really transparent about exclusions. So if something's not going to be covered, we want you to know because we don't want you going to, go out in the middle of the night for colic surgery for not realize that colic maybe is excluded because you had coverage, a claim for colic 6 months ago and in your prior term. So we're really transparent. We want to put everything that might be excluded on your policy document. Other companies, though, may not do that. They might rely on the wordings of their policy that say pre-existing. And you'll hear that a lot. Pre-existing conditions are excluded. I mean, when you're in the middle of trying to figure out what to do with your horse in an injury or, an accident, you don't want to have to try and think, is this a pre-existing? Did something happen? So make sure you're reviewing your policies, or if you're unsure, talk to your broker. I always like to use us as an example, but there are great brokers out there with all the different companies. And they'd be definitely willing to have a conversation about what would happen in this sort of situation. So make sure you are reviewing those policies on a regular basis. I think it's really easy to just push the go button. And renew automatically.
Exactly.
And I think it's always worth a conversation are there discounts that are applicable? So we have a discount for EC members on our policies.
Okay.
Which I think, again, we're trying to give back to our clients. We know you spend so much money on your horses.
Yeah.
If we can give back a little bit, we'd love to. But I think those are the big things to look for. Have you forgotten to add a horse to your policy? Did you buy a new horse? Or did you sell a horse?
Yes.
We've done it before where someone's like, oh, actually, I sold that horse 3 years ago.
Oh, no.
Oops. So we'll try and fix that. We'll go back, we'll just need some proof that you did sell the horse. But, just it's the same as your auto or your home or your farm insurance. Just a quick glance.
Yes.
Just make sure things are still accurate.
And so you talked about, reassessing the horse's value and kind of looking through your coverage, talking with your broker to make sure that it all is aligned. How often? Is this an annual thing, or do you recommend doing it less or more frequently?
Well, certainly annually at your renewal or prior to your renewal, make sure you're taking a look. But I mean, if things are changing midterm, so say your horse has had an injury, and maybe you've gone through a claim process, but now you're looking at the value, maybe you're like, you know what, that horse isn't valued what it used to be.
Yeah.
And this is a midterm change. We know that these are
living beings.
And the policy's almost a living being too. It can flex and change as your circumstances change and as need be. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's no bad time to review your policy because most people don't ever review their policy.
Yes.
So there's no bad time to review your policy and make sure that it's ensuring what you need it to ensure.
Yeah. So it just starts with the phone call.
Yeah.
And
we're nice.
figuring out where
we're not scary.
So I do think that sometimes insurance gets this negative connotation with it and stuff. Are there any red flags that viewers should be kind of aware of as they go through this process, reviewing everything, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if the policy's no longer serving you, if your horse doesn't need the coverage that it has on it, I think sometimes people expect the insurance to be able to cover everything.
Yes.
And we would again, we're all horse people. Our claims adjusters are all horse people. We would try to be able to cover anything and everything if we could.
Yeah.
But we are bound by the policy wordings for the insurance.
Yeah.
So I would say look through your policy. If there are exclusions that you feel are, either should be reviewed or removed, you don't think are accurate, those are ones where, talk to your broker, see if you can get those removed. Some exclusions are only temporary and we can apply to remove those from the coverage. Not everything is forever. So, but I mean, if there's coverage that's excluded and you're like, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
The policy's no longer of any use to me.
Yeah.
Talk to your broker because maybe there's a situation where it would be of use, but if it's not serving you anymore, maybe you don't need it. But there's no one size fit all. There's no one answer for everybody.
Yeah.
And I know my answer is always just talk to your broker, but it really is.
Yeah.
Because we can guide you through it. Again, we're horse people. We understand where you're coming from. We want a policy and a solution that works for our clients.
Yeah. So let's say I'm ready to sign up. I'm ready to have a call with you. What information do I need to have readily available in order to make the most out of our time together?
Yeah, I think the big information you need is the health history of your horse.
Okay.
If your horse is valued over a certain amount, and every company is slightly different on what they set their limit at. Ours is $30,000 and up. We would need a vet cert or a copy of your pre-purchase because you've just spent $1 million doing a pre-purchase.
Exactly.
So, we can get a vet cert or a pre-purchase sent to us along with, again, any information. The more you disclose, the better your coverage can be tailored to you.
Yep.
Because again, if it's pre-existing, it potentially could be excluded unless we have information that will allow us to remove that or to note that specifically that there is no exclusion for this. So I know sometimes people are like, I'm not going to tell the broker this because I don't want it to be not covered.
Yeah.
Well, we have vet notes and we'll be able to investigate. So the more you tell us, the more open you are, the better. So really it's your health information, any pre-purchase or vetting you've got, and then information on, when was it born?
Yeah.
How much did you spend? What is the current value of the horse? So if you're ready to get insurance, but you purchased it 5 years ago and you're still not certain what it's valued at, maybe that's where you need to call your trainer first and talk through with them what could we sell this horse for if we were to put it to market right now?
Yeah.
And then that's an accurate portrayal of their full market value. If we needed to, we could always send a form to your trainer, just being like, let's brag about this horse.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why it's valued. So if you bought it 5 years ago for $1,000 and now it's worth $100,000, we may need some information.
Yeah.
So be ready with show records. Be ready with, information on where the horse started training wise and what it's able to do now.
Yep.
Really, we just ask people to talk about their horse and brag about it.
But, oh, wow. Yeah.
Again, it's so hard to get horse people to talk to.
Oh, that's really exciting. And so you've talked a little bit about the vets and their influence. So how closely do you guys work with the different, the medical team for the horses and things like that?
A lot. So in the broker side, we're working, creating the policy, maybe updating exclusions, things like that. So we will reach out with a client's permission to their vet on a regular basis. Just, hey, do you have some notes about this incident or this vet visit or this treatment? Because again, we're looking to be able to cover more things. So if we can find a way to not have to exclude something because, you worked through with your vet, they diagnosed it, they treated it, they have no concerns about it coming back again. Great.
Exactly.
So on the broker side, we work with the vets a lot. And then on the claim side, they do work with the vets a lot to understand the expenses and what's happened throughout the claim.
Yep.
Those vet bills where it actually is descriptive of exactly what happened. Those are great. Make sure you hold on to those.
Okay.
Don't just press the delete button once you want to I need to not think about this again. Don't press the delete button. Keep those because those are really great to help the claims adjuster go through the process and then helps get us able to pay a claim out more promptly, which everyone wants to get reimbursed as soon as they can.
Oh, yes.
So
for sure.
If we're able to do that with really quick back and forth from yourself, from the vet, things like that, the faster our claims adjusters can pay out the cost of the claim.
Yeah, that makes sense. So as detailed as you can, it's nice to hear that you guys are really open and trying to get the full picture of everything and including everybody in that conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've talked a lot about horse insurance. Now there's a whole other side of this, farm insurance, things like that. So when should somebody consider getting farm insurance?
Really, if you have any animals on your property, you should be looking at farm insurance because home insurance, I'm not talking dogs and cats.
Yeah.
The other four-legged variety of animals. Or two, I guess, for chickens. But a regular home insurance policy is not going to be able to correctly insure not only the other buildings that might be on a farm property, but also the liability, which is a big thing on farms. Liability for farms it's touchy. It's scary because there's so much that could go wrong on a farm. Animals could get out on the road. I just saw that in Brant County, there was a whole herd of horses and their foals on the road.
Yeah.
So that's a really scary moment where, number one, you don't know what's happening with your horses. You don't know where they've gone. But also, if there's a car accident, that liability claim could be devastating. So we want to make sure you're properly insured.
Yes.
So I would say anytime you're moving to anything other than a home in town, make sure that the policy is actually either a farm or a hobby farm or a rural property insurance policy and not just, the equivalent of a downtown condo insurance.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, the big one is sometimes people move from Toronto and they buy a farm with outbuildings and an arena and stuff like that. And they just think, oh, my, home insurance will just be able to transfer over. Yeah. And then they call us the day before it closes being like, I need insurance. Please help me. So earlier.
Yes.
Give us a shout earlier. Make sure that the insurance can transfer earlier.
Yes. And it sounds like everything always just goes back to having that phone call.
It really
and explaining
does.
the situation and letting you guys kind of guide the conversation to make sure that everybody is as covered as possible and what they're comfortable with. So that's really exciting. I'm going to kind of wrap our conversation up here. I always kind of end the podcast in the same way as well. So where do you see horse insurance, farm insurance going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I would like to see horse insurance becoming a more digital process in many ways. So, being able to submit forms online, maybe doing some of the stuff digitally.
Yes.
I don't think we can ever replace some of the person-to-person relationships.
Of course.
Just because we need that conversation. We want you to understand your policy and what you're covered for. But I would love to see more digital processes available. And then on the farm insurance side, I think there's going to be a lot more focus on ensuring the modern farm.
Yeah.
You know, farms are getting way more digital. You know, how many people now have full camera coverage on their barns? How many people have more electronic stuff that's working in their barns?
Yeah.
So I think proper cyber coverage, making sure that their outbuildings are properly covered, and making sure their equipment's properly covered. I think it is an industry, like farm is changing.
Yeah.
And the farm that we have today is not the same as we had 50 years ago, and it's not the same as we're going to have in 50 years.
100%.
So I think we have to continue to evolve the policies and make them fit for a modern farm.
Yeah. Well, that's really exciting. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
You're
I know
welcome.
this was really insightful for me. I've got my little herd at home that I'm going to definitely be reviewing their policies when I get home to make sure that it is everything that we've talked about today, that they're valued at where they should be, and that the coverage is what I'm comfortable with and is kind of set in stone where I want it. So thank you again.
You're very
I know
welcome.
that this is our viewers are gonna really appreciate this. And to everyone watching, thank you for tuning in, and make sure you like and subscribe so you're the next to see the episode of People Behind the Horses.